Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Paragon guide. I am Sylphan, and today I am going to be running through a beginner's guide for Howitzer. Howitzer is a lovely rat in a mechanized suit that deals excellent damage from afar. He is a caster hero, and we will see just how much damage we can pull out of him. So first you will start off by pressing G into your select a deck screen. We are going to go with the starter deck caster energy damage. Simply click on that, hit confirm, and make sure that you toggle off these suggestions. We are not going to follow what they suggest, and instead something that is tried and true through my experience. Equip a health, a mana, and a scout sword in your first 3 slots. As you can see, I am heading down the left lane. You simply have to pick a lane that you kind of just want, or take a look at what allies you have, and I am going to sit here with my tank, Severog. Now, the first ability we are going to go for is his Q ability. It is the R2000 missile, and is a great source of damage. It is going to be your primary source of damage, and when you click it, it's going to be kind of a interesting little laser finder that will pop up. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to click my Q, and you can see here that there's a little bit of a laser beam that goes into the downrange, and that is where the missile will go. It automatically casts, as you saw there, for a certain amount of time. I believe after 3 seconds or so, it deploys 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, there you go. So about 1 second, it fires off on its own. It is a great source of your long-range damage, and is the best ability in his kit. Besides his ultimate, of course. The second ability we are going to go for is called his Landmine, his E ability. This you simply put down on the ground, and it acts as a very good deterrent for the enemy. What it does is after 5 seconds, it knocks back the enemy and deals 50 energy damage. Now, it does knock back the enemy, but it also knocks back you. So you can use it as a great escape tool for the enemy. As you can see here, I'm gonna pretend like I'm escaping from the enemy. You place it down and you reactivate it to hit yourself forward. Now, hopefully you can get the landmine in between you and the melee hero there. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you saw a very long-range Q dealing that final blow to that Gideon. That is exactly what we want. The E is the greatest source of your mobility for sure, as it kicks you back to where you want to go. It's a really great ability. The last ability we got was the Slow Mines. It does exactly what it says. It slows down the enemy when it comes into contact with them, and is a good kind of keep the enemy at bay ability. You throw out three grenades, kind of one in front of you, one to the side here, and one to the side here, that do 50 energy damage and apply a 100 max movement speed slow. It is a very good way to keep the enemy slowed down while you retreat away from the damage. So we have 6 card points, ladies and gentlemen, and that is our cue to head back. We really want to utilize as much power as we possibly can very quickly. So we got the Scout Sword, and I haven't explained it just yet, simply because we saw that there was the 2 enemies in the lane with us, and we're going to actually upgrade the Scout Sword into a Magus Sword. Now, I will explain once we are in lane exactly what that does. We have 4 card power left over. We're going to be able to do a cast and a mana to equal 4 card power that we spent. Simply go back to the lane that you were at, unless, of course, there is a tower that's under attack, which we see the mid lane is, but we have 2 friendly heroes heading that way. As you can see here, I used my grenade to hit this Gideon back, and what I'm going to do is hopefully maybe we can get the final kill here, and yes, we can. So as you can see, the E is not only for escape, but also for securing kills. Now, a final ability that we are going to get here is Make It Rain. It is his ultimate ability, a very, very interesting ability that has a lot of particular uses here. We should be able, let's see if we can knock back the steal. No, we knocked him to the side. You leap into the air with your rocket machine, and you deal a whole bunch of damage over 4.2 seconds. You deal a volley of missiles hitting for 498 energy damage, but the last missile deals 50% of all the damage. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to place the skill in a way where you force the enemy to stay within its area of effect. It's kind of easy to do, but it depends, of course, on where the enemy is going and exactly where they are. Now, why did we get those wards in the first place? Simply because of this. So this upgraded Magus ward will give us shadow wards. See how it is how it's kind of transparent? That means that it is in the shadow realm, in the shadow plane, and the enemy can't see that unless they have a shadow ward up for themselves. Now that will provide us vision of all of this area over here, giving us a little bit of a warning if the enemy is coming our way. So this Steel used his ultimate. We're going to use our ultimate. Take a look at this. So there you see the area of effect, and hopefully, no, he gets out. And the big missile that you see there, a little mushroom cloud, that deals a majority of the damage, the 50% of the damage there. So you can see we're doing a great amount of damage here to that Steel from pretty far distance, and that is exactly what Howitzer excels at. Here in the early game, simply focus on getting the last hits on these minions. It is very, very important that you do so, simply because casters really need that early game kind of push. They were just fixed in a very recent patch to have a little easier of a job in lane, but it still is very, very important. You get 3 times the experience than if you were to otherwise not last hit. That is a very big advantage that you really should focus on, because it's just really based on your attention, how much focus you can get to last hit. So with this 3 card power, we're going to be able to finish off our very first card, the Magus Ward. What this does is it gives us some good amount of damage here in the early game, and more importantly gives us that vision that can really keep us alive and not feed the enemy team with kills. So when we are talking about skill priority, the order in which you upgrade your abilities, definitely going to be focusing on our Q. As you can see at level 8, I have already upgraded our R2000 missile completely as maxed out as we can. This is going to be the greatest source of our damage, and we need to upgrade that as fast as we can. You see there that I, at level 7, upgraded our landmine to level 2, simply because it is a very, very, very good ability that has a lot of utility. It pushes you in the direction that you want to go, and it forces the enemy in a direction you also want them to go. So I'm being a little bit aggressive here. I can put this down. I can actually shoot out my right click. There you can see those grenades here. Uh-oh, but we are in trouble. We can use our ultimate actually to get out of here. Something that I did not mention before was that right at the end here of your ultimate, you actually kind of zoom to the side. Whatever direction you are wanting to go, whatever kind of movement you want to do at the end of your ultimate, as long as you are pressing that direction, you actually kind of shoot off that way. So there is a bit of a movement component to your ultimate that you can use, like you saw there, to actually get out of the way of enemy teams. There is that little bit of a use for your ultimate. If you are in a very sticky situation, you can use your ultimate to get out of the way. We are simply continuing to push this lane using our Q to deal long-range damage, and we now have 6 card power. The next card we are going to go is something called the Wellspring Staff. Now, in the starter build, there are 2 different upgraded Wellspring Staffs, and we want the one with a lot of damage. We want to really increase our damage here in the early game, hopefully creating an advantage that we can use to snowball later in the game. That will basically mean that we can just get an advantage now and keep using that advantage until we eventually win the game. So we went to the mid lane, ladies and gentlemen, because we are always watching our mini-map and making sure that we go where we are needed. If there's a tower that needs defense, like our right lane will need in just a little bit, we definitely need to go there and respond to the enemy team. We managed to kill that Muriel simply because I slowed her down with our right click. I pushed her back towards our friendly teams with our E and did a very good job of controlling the enemy. Howitzer can be a good utility hero if you use him properly. As you can see, we have an upgrade to do, and we always want to do our ultimate if we can. Skill priority is definitely our ultimate, followed by our Q, then our E and right click. Although I would definitely upgrade the E more than anything. If possible, always manage to grab these harvesters if you are close. On your way to the anywhere really beyond when you have your own harvesters, always stop by and pick them up. Sometimes your junglers simply cannot get to them in time, and that's where the rest of the team needs to pick up the slack. With our 6 card power, we're going to be able to finish off this Wellspring Staff. Look at all of that energy damage, a little bit of mana. Now the next card that we're going to go for, we can't get just yet. We only have 2 card power, and this one requires 3. Now that we have 5 card power after defending a lane that was pushed up and pushing it down and taking the enemy tower, we have enough to go for our Pendulum of Lords. Why are we getting this? Simply because of these 2 upgrades and the fully upgraded bonus. Cooldown reduction reduces the time the cooldown between when you can use your abilities. That means that we'll be able to use our abilities much more often, therefore increasing how many spells we can cast and therefore increasing our damage. Now I want to show you a good combo that you can use. I am going to hit this Muriel back, put my right click out, and hopefully force her to walk through those grenades. I didn't manage to do it just right this time, but on the left lane, right when we got those 5 card power before, we were able to get that kind of combination off. You hit the enemy towards your friendly team, and then you use your slow grenades to kind of create a path of grenades that they have to walk through, get slowed, take damage, and then hopefully that means that you can secure that kill. Now look at our Q, how much damage that is doing. We're almost able to really clear out a wave of minions very, very quickly. So I did not ward this area in time. Maybe we can actually get this combination off on this Richter. He's doing a lot of damage. I'm going to do this. Where is he? There he is. I'm going to have to use my ultimate to get out of here. Look, I'm going to zoom towards my base just because I want to stay safe in here. But look at that. That last huge missile that deals 50% of our ultimate's damage was able to take him out. Now, just see how far your Q can go. We can actually damage the tower right from the edge of its effective range. And through perseverance, we were able to take down that right tower, and we will be able to fully upgrade this Pendulum of Lords fully. Now we have 17.5% cooldown reduction and some more health, which will help us now that people are starting to deal a little bit more damage here in the mid-game. What a perfect card here for our 3rd card. So, sorry about that, folks. I was going to do our combination here on that Muriel, but she used her ultimate to get out of the way. The combination, using your E to push them towards your friendly team, and then using your right click to create a path of grenades that slows them down as they walk through it, is a very, very powerful combination for Howitzer. Preferably, you want to stay as far away from the enemy as possible, but sometimes you will find yourself wanting to even engage a little bit harder on the enemy, and just that combination is very, very powerful indeed. So using our map awareness, looking at our mini-map, we have to go all the way to the right side of our base here and protect this tower. So we managed to defend that right tower, and now that we are back in base, we have an option here of going for our Wellspring Staff again. Because we have that cooldown reduction, we're going to need some mana here, because we're spending so much more mana on the spells that we can cast more quickly, so we need some more mana. Plus, it has energy damage and on the primary stat, and fully upgraded bonus of energy damage as well. Let's try to see if we can use our combination here on the Gideon. Kind of, I missed with the Eve, pushing him all the way back. I'm going to have to use my ultimate, though, to get out of this Gideon damage. And look at all the damage he's going to take as he is forced to stay there in his ultimate. So there we go. You do, ladies and gentlemen, when you have an advantage over the enemy team, use that to really, really, really do some good damage. Howitzer is able to control the enemy with his E, especially, and his right click to slow them down. So he is a very strong character if used correctly. We have a 7 card power after dominating the enemy team. 7 is the perfect amount here to fully complete this Wellspring Staff. Look at all that mana and look at that energy damage. We will be able to spend all of our abilities much more often and hopefully do some more damage, control the enemy even more. Using your wards that we picked up in the beginning of the game is very, very important. I like to put them right about here on the enemy side, right off the middle lane. The middle lane is harder to ward off simply because you need 2 wards to get either side, and it's a very, very important part of staying safe here in the middle lane. So we won in a 3v1, believe it or not, against the enemy team, simply being able to use our controlling abilities to control how these melee characters attack us. So right now we are finally done our last Wellspring Staff, and now we go into our Staff of the Adamants. They have a little bit of health, and one of them has a little bit of health on the upgrades, but we need to continue this advantage of damage, so we are going to use Staff of the Adamant with all of the health upgrades. Now, this is up to you which one you remove. I'm feeling like I am coming back to base often enough to replenish my mana, so I'm going to keep this health potion there. 4 card power will enable us to get these 2 cast, and now we have 182 health damage right here in the beginning of the late game for sure. Okay, let's see if we can use do our combo here. I did indeed. I'm going to use my ultimate even to finish off this Decker. I'm actually going to fly behind her to make sure that I secure this kill. Look at all the damage we managed to do, and with our ultimate being able to fly out of that gadget ultimate, we're able to mitigate quite a bit of damage. As you can see, he has quite a bit of utility that simply playing him right, you can certainly do. Ooh, I wanted to play with this Gideon. Come back, come and play. Let's see if we can, there we go, there's a combo. E into the right click. Let's use our Q. I don't think I actually hit him with this. Looks like I'm low on health. I'm being a little too aggressive here, pushing our advantage a little too far, and I'm going to die. So there you go. That is what you don't do, ladies and gentlemen. I was being a little too aggressive, and I paid for it. Howitzer is a fairly squishy caster. I wouldn't say the squishiest for sure, but with his ultimate and his E, you can certainly get out of sticky situations if played properly. With these 3 card power, we're going to be able to finish off our second last card here, and go for this next Staff of the Adamant for, I believe, 300 health. That 2-point upgrade in the health will give us 200, so 300 more health after this very last card. Let's hopefully get another showcase here of our combo. No, I missed the right click. I'm going really deep here. I'm going to use my ultimate as he uses his ultimate. I read that one like a book. forcing him to eat this very last nuclear missile there. Look at that. So there you go. You can do a good amount of burst damage if you want to use all of your abilities all at once, but he's primarily a very good poke character from afar with his Q and his basic attack. Once you have pushed the lanes up to the tier 2 towers, come into their jungle and place your ward right about here. You want to get good vision of the enemy jungle so that when you are pushing up this lane, you get as much of an advanced warning as possible. As we said, Howitzer, while he's not the squishiest caster in the game, he certainly is not all that tanky. So you do have to be very careful with how you position yourself. And again, try to be primarily a poke hero, even though I've been showcasing some pretty aggressive play. Alright, let's see what we can do here in this little bit of a team fight. I'm going to use my ultimate simply because we do have that cooldown reduction. This gadget did walk away from it. Looks like I'm getting a little bit controlled here. Let's hit her back. I don't have my right click, to be honest with you. And look, looks like I have to retreat here. I'm going to throw out my right click to slow down that Mariel as she's trying to chase me. But it looks like her overextension here. Oh, look at that very long range Q, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this long range poke. I have low health. It's definitely not worth going and feeding the enemy team with your kill, so just simply retreat back to base. So we're coming to the very last card here, and we do have this Staff of the Adamant with some more health. Right here, as you can see, we're going to hit 300 more health from this card. It's going to help us now that the other hero classes are starting to increase. All of the carriers are really starting to show their stuff here in the end game. We need that health. So we do have 3 more card points, and we'll be showing some trickery here in the very, very end late. So even against a tanky hero like this Richter, ooh, and I messed up our combination here with the E into our right click. So he does get pushed back. He really didn't do very much because we were able to do so much damage with our long-range Q there. He wasn't able to really get to me at all, and that is simply what you want to do with those melee heroes, because some of them, like Grux, can have a very powerful control abilities with their pull. So let's see here on this steal. Let's use this into our right click here. There we go. He gets a little bit slowed down, but not that much, and looks like I am a little overextended. So he's going to be a very good character to counter us. Let's bring him into this mine, push him back here, stay in the air with our Q, and finish the kill off. So I'm starting to feel that little bit of health that we've managed to get here in the last couple cards, and it's very, very, very powerful. That extra 600 or so health, I would say, 500 health we've been able to get so far, has really actually kept me here in these lanes, being able to push down these towers. So we have a team fight going on, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what we can do. We're going to knock back this Gideon again. He into the Q. Look at all that damage from the mines, and he is stunned by our friendly team. Let's see if I can long-range poke him. I don't want to dive too far. Oh, but not enough cooldown to give us our Q again. The friendly Kalari, sorry, is the hero that we need to secure those kills, but it looks like she will be pushed out as well. So remember, don't be too aggressive. We are a squishy hero. We do excel at poke, so that is something we need to remember. With our very last 3 points here, we're going to be able to finish off our Staff of the Adamant. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, you have an option. Depending on how the game is going, where your siege is at, how many towers you have been able to kill, it depends if you want to replace this Elder Mage Amulet with replace this Magus Ward with this Elder Mage Amulet. There in the end game, a lot of damage is going to be flying around the battlefield. You need to stay relevant in these team fights, and simply by doing that is by staying alive. This Elder Mage Amulet with its 300 health once fully upgraded, as well as the 400 that we'll get from upgrading it, gives us 700 more health, and you can certainly replace this Magus Ward with this Elder Mage Amulet. By not having those wards, you will lose out on vision, but hopefully the rest of your team will have some wards to give you vision. Plus, since you are hopefully at the enemy base, hopefully taking out their inhibitors, vision won't be so much of an issue because you'll simply know where they are. They will be confined to their base. Vision won't be as important then. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you see, we are now all up in their inhibitors. We have one inhibitor destroyed and they have 2 left. So because they are now confined to their base, if they don't defend against that left lane push, they will be dead. So we do not need this vision as much anymore. So now we're going to replace it with this Elder Mage Amulet. Giving us all of this health and a little bit more damage will certainly keep us very relevant here in the end. Now, if you take a look in the middle of the jungles, you will find that there are blue and red camps. The blue one is definitely one that I would recommend for Howitzer. You certainly could use the red, but the blue would be even better. What the blue orb does, when you finally kill that big minion in the middle, there's this blue orb. You have to pick it up, and it gives you cooldown reduction and energy regeneration. Basically, we have now gone up, if you look to the bottom middle of your screen, to 5.4 mana regeneration per second. It's definitely going to be able to keep us here in these fights much longer. We don't have a mana potion, so we need to be able to stay in these fights somehow, with that blue orb giving us more mana regeneration and cooldown reduction, which again will amplify how much we can spend these abilities. It will really increase us here in this game. So I'm going to actually use my ability here, place it behind Richter, forcing him to walk through that big missile at the end. And I'm going to actually knock him to the side. Not what I wanted to do. Can I hit that? And it doesn't kill him. So he is a tank and will be very hard to kill, so that is something to keep in mind. These inhibitors are almost down, and looks like the push to the end is near. So, as you can see, we are at 362 health. I didn't manage to capture it, but we took a Gadget ultimate, we took a Richter ultimate, we took a Richter pull into the inhibitor that hit us twice, and we took a whole minion wave of damage, and we still managed to escape. That showcases how much you need this endgame health here. That extra 700 health from that Elder Mage Amulet will keep us alive much better than if we did not have it. Here is the final push to the core, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be able to do a massive amount of damage here. Look at all of these abilities we are able to shoot out onto the battlefield, and I'm going to hopefully finish off this core with my ultimate. Take a look at all of those numbers. Absolutely incredible. All of that card power that we don't really need here in the end game. There is the victory, ladies and gentlemen, and what a build. I'm always surprised at just how good these starter builds are. There isn't any really fancy tertiary and, you know, 4th level stats in there like penetration and other kind of more complex stats, but really I'm always impressed by these builds. So simply, ladies and gentlemen, we started off with the Magus Ward that at the very end we replaced with the Elder Mage Amulet. We went into a Wellspring Staff for some mana, with some damage, this one. Then we went into Pendulum of Lords for that cooldown reduction, very effective here on Howitzer. Then we went to this Wellspring Staff for that extra mana, then to the Staff of the Adamant for all of that energy damage on those upgrades, this other Staff of the Adamant for a little bit of health, because there in the beginning of the late game you will certainly be feeling the enemy damage, and then that Elder Mage Amulet. there is the build, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully that this beginner guide was very useful. Please subscribe if you found this helpful, and let me know down in the comments if there's any way that you think I could improve it. Like always, like the video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and comment down why you disliked it. Please share it with the community, and of course, subscribe like I said. Until next time, like always, take care.